Good morning, everybody. This is Edman. How are you doing today? Hey, today I want to make one of my favorites, New England baked beans, homemade baked beans. But I'm going to make them a little different. I'm making them the state of Maine style baked beans. So the difference is most people use navy beans. We like to use soldier beans. Recipe is pretty much the same. It's an old recipe. It's even printed pretty much on the back of the package here. It's the same recipe my wife's aunt gave us that's been passed down to us. The only thing I like to do different is I add a little something a little different, and that's some maple syrup that we made last year. But I'm going to walk you through this. We're going to get it into this nice bean craft, and then we're going to get it in the oven for about 8 hours. So I soaked my beans, 2 pounds of soldier beans overnight, cold water. And this morning I woke up and I've been boiling them. I'd say this is probably 45 minutes on a boil, maybe even an hour. But you can see they're losing their jacket and they're splitting. And that's what you want. You want your beans to be soft now before you put them in the crock and cook them. And these are perfect. These are like you get at the store. So what I'm going to do, shut the gas off. I'm going to drain these in a sink, and I'm going to meet you right back at the island, and we're going to put this recipe together. Thanks for meeting me back at the island. I've drained the beans and have them in a bowl. I have an onion that I've started to peel. It's a medium-sized sweet onion, and I'm gonna chunk it up in some pretty good-sized chunks. And I'm gonna set about half of this onion in the bottom of that bean crock right there, just to give a little base. I'd rather my onions darken up than my beans. So now I have my onions in the crock. I can add my salt pork, and you definitely have to use salt pork. I've tried using bacon before because I haven't had salt pork, and it's just not the same. This is a pretty big package. I'm only going to use half this package. This is 12 ounces. I only need 6 for my crock size here. What I like to do is a couple pieces on the bottom, but I like to put most of it on top and let that fat and that salt render down inside there. So I'll put a few pieces in there. Okay, the rest of the recipe is as follows. That's a strong onion. It's getting to me. So the rest of the recipe is some plain white sugar, a little bit of brown sugar, totaling about a half a cup. I use more white than brown. And I get it into a glass mixing bowl. I have some backstrap molasses. That's hard for me to say for some reason. And that's about a half of a cup. You can go a little bit lighter if you don't like that strong molasses taste, but that's kind of what the New England baked bean is all about. It's not a what do I want to say, a barbecue, sugary, barbecue-y taste. It's more of a rich, thick, dark taste. So I have that and that. Now, I don't think too many people add maple syrup, but can't go wrong with some maple syrup. The dry ingredients are as follows: 2 teaspoons, of ground mustard, about 1/2 teaspoon of ground pepper, and I threw a pinch of salt in there, but you don't need too much salt because we have salt pork. Get all that in there together, and then I'm going to take this hot boiling water that I just had, and I am going to make at least 8 cups, 7 to 8 cups of liquid, and that's more than I need. But as we cook our beans, the liquid will evaporate, and I'll add this remaining liquid to top off my pot check it every couple hours. It's probably going to take 6 to 8 hours for these beans to cook down really good. So I like to do this, get it all mixed together, get that sugar melted, get that maple syrup off the bottom. It's getting easier to stir. Oh, there's a speed bump. That must be some maple syrup. So I get it all liquefied, yummified. It's already smelling good. So I started with 2 pounds. Have I showed you yet? Maine state beans, soldier beans. And I get them into my little crock here. And the crock is pretty small. It's not too big, so it's not even going to take the whole 2 pounds of beans. I'm guessing more like 1.5 pounds. And the reason you're asking me that is because I've already measured it out. I filled the crock a few minutes ago with beans. So my tip on the beans is getting the bite and the consistency that you like now, because when you bake them, they're not really going to change from what they are now. Ooh, I might have had a little too much in there since I added the onions and the salt pork. So I've already forgot one of my things that I like to do, because I'm trying to concentrate on talking, is get some of that salt pork in the middle and some of that onions in the middle. Not too much pork, salt pork. I like to save that for the top, but the onions can definitely go in the middle. This is going to be so good. Uh-oh. I don't think the dogs want to eat that crumb that fell on the floor. Finish topping it off. Clean up a little bit. These beans are good enough you could eat these right now. You don't need any barbecue sauce or any molasses. Eat them just as they are. They're delicious. So, my very hot, I'm going to pour it over the pan because I know I'll spill some. And I'm going to top this off as high as I can. I'm going to drop the rest of that salt pork on top. Spiffy up the lid a little bit. I have it on a pizza pan lined with some aluminum foil, because when it starts to boil and bake over, which doesn't bother me a bit, because I love that smell, fill the house with some great aroma. But I'll pop this in the oven right now. I'll check it every hour, hour and a half, and it's going to go in there for a minimum of 6 hours. So in 6 hours we'll be back. Hang out. We'll make a really long video. No, I'm just kidding. So this is the way it goes. 6 hours. When it's done, I'll bring it out, show it to you, and we'll have some. So I just got the baked beans out of the oven. They've been in there for about 8 hours, and they are looking very good, and they are smelling good. Come check this out. New England baked beans, Maine style. Those are gonna be good. Thanks for watching.